There is a great contradiction between verses 8 and 34 of chapter 14 in the book of Numbers. Verse 8 speaks about God's pleasure versus verse 34, which talk about God's opposition. The Hebrew word "my displeasure" in verse 34 also can be translated into opposition. This opposition was caused by the evil report, murmuring, despising, not believing, trying, not listening, and unfaithfulness of the Israelites to the extent that God called them an evil assembly. In contrast, Caleb is the one who was pleased by God because he has another spirit and was fully following God. Verse 36 shows that the evil reporting caused the assembly to murmur against Moses. Numbers 14, verses 2, 27, 29, and 36 mention the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron and murmured against God. The word despise in Hebrew has been translated into spurn by some translation. The children of Israel did not care for God but care only for themselves. In everything and in every way, they were not for themselves and not for God's interests, which led them to despise God. Because of this, they did not believe in God and they offended God to such an extent that they became abhorrent to Him. Their situation brought in God's judgment and punishment. God alone is the source of faith. If we would have faith, we must learn to care for God's interests and not only for ourselves. The phrase evil assembly is only used twice in the Old Testament. What a tragedy that the people became so evil in God's eyes. A different spirit in Hebrew also may be translated into another spirit. This Hebrew word may also mean lingering. How different that Caleb had a spirit of lingering on Jehovah God, while the other people spurned Jehovah God. Caleb in Hebrew means whole heart, which caused him to fully follow God. God calls Caleb my servant, and servant in Hebrew may also mean bound man, one who is bound because of God's heart's desire. The report about you can also be translated from Hebrew to your fame. Although God wanted to kill all the Israelites, Moses spoke with God about his fame among the nations to force God to reconsider, and God accepted Moses' words. Shama'u at Simakah. Moses says this to God in Numbers when convincing him not to kill all the children of Israel. The middle word at, although this word is not translatable, has been used over 10,000 times in the Old Testament. Aleph is the first letter in the Hebrew alphabet, and Tet is the last letter. In Revelations, the Apostle John says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, and the beginning and the end. And he may be referring to this untranslatable word. Moses, in his conversation with God, may have used this word to remind God about his word and his work. May we all pay attention to God's word and God's work.